Welcome, everybody. This one's really good. We've been talking about this specific thing for now, I think on and off for about 4 months because it's just becoming more obvious that this is now extremely important. Casey, did you ever think we'd be talking about blogging again?
No, blogging and area pages and bios. I thought we were like well beyond that, and
I thought we were done, dude.
We're sucked back into the world. I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like the internet's being restructured.
It is. Like I was at an offsite yesterday with some people from my team, and we were kind of laughing. We were saying, maybe 2 years ago, we were talking about ways to transform our business outside of websites, right? Because we thought AI is going to come in here and it's just going to obliterate the need for this thing. And then all of a sudden AEO became this kind of oh shit moment. And we're like, wait a second, where's it going to pull from? It's going to pull from a lot of places, obviously, and we'll talk about that. And the website's one of those core places it's going to pull from.
That's true, which is crazy. And I think last time or one of the conversations we had, you made a point to tell me, I don't know if it was you or Matt at Placester. You said if it's your domain name with your name, it carries more authority. So that means ChatGPT, Gemini, or whoever pulls from it more.
Yes. And we'll go through this. Like I want to show, it's actually really exciting because we're going to do two things that are, I think, extremely helpful. One, we're just going to talk about this kind of awesome guide that Placester put out. And I want to go through some of the points with people. And I want to use you as an example for some of it because I think it's going to be pretty helpful for people to see. And we're going to share the guide with everybody. I highly recommend, you'll see the spots, plug yourself into this thing, like use it. It's a breadth of great information that's specific to each person who uses it. So that's number one. And then number two, we're going to show some like real examples of people using Placester's products, not only to help them create content, but talk about the kind of content that we're creating that's going to be really thoughtful, really in helping them with AEO. But as we'll quickly talk about, that overlap between the two, between SEO and AEO, it's still really strong, right? This isn't like you've got to go out and now write in a new coding language that's never been invented before. There's a nice Venn diagram overlap for people between SEO best practices and AEO, but those nuances are gonna, they're gonna really matter. I think we're gonna jump into it. Is that good, Theo?
That's good. Let me just do a quick thing here. If your browser is slowing down or if we're freezing on our end, just jump back in, please. And we are running on YouTube as well. This is being recorded, so you can jump on the Lab Code Agents YouTube. I know some of you are on there too, watching. So if you miss any part of this, we're going to be sending this out, or you could just watch the replay on YouTube. Now, I'm going to read something because I want to make sure everyone knows what we're actually going to be talking about so I don't screw this up. And obviously, this is all brought to you by Placester, so we'll be showcasing that. Here's what I'm going to read. Today's clients aren't just Googling, they're asking AI. So how do you make sure you're the one it recommends? That's honestly the biggest thing. So this webinar will break down how to create high impact local content and expand it strategically to increase your visibility in AI-powered search. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Casey Popkins, like Anthony Hopkins, just in case you're wondering. Casey, thanks for joining us. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with this guide. And like I said, we're going to share this with everybody. So, don't worry if you see something that you want to circle back to. There'll be plenty of time to do this, either on your own, or I'm extremely accessible, a lot like you, Tristan. Like, I love when people reach out to me after these. I get calls and text about, can you answer something? I'm like, yeah. This is like, I get excited about this.
Should people reach out to you by email or
email, text? I'll drop them in the email at the end for both. I like phone. I love when somebody calls me or texts me because that's how I operate, but I understand that email is easier for people. So we will meet you where you need to be met.
Excellent.
All right, cool. So, we keep talking about this, how it's changing, right? And I kind of started that last one out that we did for anybody that was there. That was just kind of a reminder, like we're all on the same page that there's a shift happening from people doing traditional Google searches to AI searches. And I love this little line here. I mean, again, you can read it, you can watch the video when we share this, but Google was your librarian. And I think that's a really helpful way to think about it, right? There was kind of this binary relationship that you had with Google in the way that you said keywords and locations. And now we think of AI as like a colleague. And I don't know how many of you are using Cowork and Skills and stuff like that, or even Cursor, but I mean, we kind of laugh all the time that some of our best employees that I've, kind of get to work with 24/7 are going to be my, my AI tools. And so repositioning your own thinking on how you run your business is really important, because remember, your consumers are doing it. And so a lot of us out there, yes, we're real estate professionals, but we're also consumers day to day. And don't forget that the things that you do in your own day-to-day AI searching, they're going to apply to people that are looking to buy, to sell, to rent, whatever it might be on that journey. You can think about like the early 10s when, this Alexa and Siri were kind of first hitting. And then in the late 10s, you saw Google starting to answer some questions. And now today it's like you're having conversations, right? And people, when you're thinking about the real estate search, we went through the different paradigms last time of how the consumers are using search. Like, are they down funnel and they're looking for an agent? Are they further up funnel and they're trying to research a market, right? You've got to think about how those different searches are happening. But I love, like, don't sleep on that last bullet. The early mover window, it's still open. Like, don't think of this as I'll wait to do it 3 months from now, because guess what? The models will change and evolve and 10 other people in your market will pick this up. Like, do not hesitate on this. You still have an opportunity to be found above most of your colleagues out there in the same market, but that's not going to last forever. Okay. In this, I love doing this. I put this in for Long Beach, and Tristan, we're going to do you here. This is basically a way for you, the agent, to search yourself. I recommend everybody doing this. So let's do.
That's where our brokerage is at. So it may not find anything in Long Beach for me. If you want to switch that.
What do you want to try? Let's try something else.
Let's try Thousand Oaks. Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks. All right, cool. We have not seen this. Okay, so you can read the results per person. The thing I care most about are these prompts down here. And these are cool because, like, this is how we think people would normally start this conversation. A friend recommended Tristan. He's a local agent in Thousand Oaks. Can you tell me more? So this is going to pop open ChatGPT.
Dude, where are you typing this in? I need this site. Where the hell is this?
Yeah, we're going to share this. This is our AEO guide that everyone's going to get access to. It's really cool because the information in there is kind of relevant to everybody. And then there's these awesome opportunities to put yourself and your own market in there to be very personalized to you. So this is just going to auto-populate that prompt here, and let's see what it spits out.
Yeah, man. And you're on ChatGPT right now.
We're on ChatGPT right now, yeah. So this is awesome, and I'm going to talk through what I think is important. Not that I don't want to pat you on the back for how good this answer is, Tristan, but we'll focus a little bit on what's actually showing up here. So the first thing I point out is, like, this is a real clear description of who you are. And I love that it caught this last bullet, like CEO of Lab Code Agents, real estate community, consultant, speaker. So it really knows kind of both about you. And it starts to reference where these things are being found, okay? Local presence, where are you relevant? So the county that you're relevant near LA, do these markets look right to you?
Yep, very close to where I live.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've been affiliated with Keller Williams and Y Realtor, and this is coming from, there's some Zoom info out there. There's your Y Realty website profile. And then there's things like production. There's things like reputation. And I love when I see stuff like this because you're seeing different profiles that are being sourced here. Okay, why am I pointing this all out? People think about like local searches, and everybody wants to think about being found for a particular home search or a particular market search. And like everyone would love, homes for sale in Thousand Oaks, and then you're the first agent that pops up. Of course, that's important. But you and I know, Tristan, more than anything else, most real estate professionals' businesses, it comes from referral. And so thinking about the way that your referrals are going to validate you is most important, right?
Agreed.
My friend recommended Tristan in this market. What can you tell me? That's how people are taking the referrals that they got. Oh, what agent A, B, and C, and they're plugging them into AI. And then what they find on AI is going to be super important and informative on whether they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call you or text you.
That's true.
Okay, so you see all this here. I recommend everybody plugging it in for themselves. Once you plug it in, two big things I want to point out. Number one, type in Tristan's information as a starting point, because I think this is like, this is a 10 out of 10 on what you want, and then put yours in there. And the thing that I want you to compare is what categories, number one, are missing or added that you don't see on your own. And then number two, what information is actually showing up in those categories. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the second part. And then you can start to look at your sources. And this is like a little thing that I would tell everybody to do is like, take a look at the sources that are showing up here. See if GPT will load it for me. Oh, that's okay. So let's go look at them kind of one by one here. I won't go through all of them, but you can see there's Zillow, right? So there's a profile on Zillow. There's a homes.com profile that you have. You've got, where was it up here? We've got the Bird Eye profile, and then we've got your own website. We've got back to Zillow. This is important because it's not just pulling from one singular place, right?
Can you do me a favor, Casey?
Yeah.
Can you grab the prompt and throw it into the comment section here?
Absolutely.
So that they could just replace my name and put their name on there? And so
And then
what we want you to do, grab that,
Yeah.
put your name, and then change the city to your city. And then try this out right now on ChatGPT and Gemini just to see what happens. Because Gemini is Google, so I'd like people to test that out as well.
Test them all. I mean, when you go through the guide here, this will give you the option to do it as well. We'll give you some prompts, and then this is going to automatically open up your tools if you have different tools. Obviously, Gemini is very easy. ChatGPT, most of us use. And like I said, take a look at those sources. See where people are being recommended, because having consistency across your profiles, that is one of the biggest things that we tell people to do, right? Making sure that they look at all the different signals out there on the web. That means if you've got a beautiful site, that's amazing, but it also means that you need to have a profile on Zillow. You need to have a profile on homes.com. You need to have your Google business profile. You can't just do one. You need to have all of them connected, and they have to say the same thing.
And Rate My Agent, believe it or not. It's one of the top places, which I didn't expect. So everyone, go make a profile account on Rate My Agent and make sure it has the same information that homes.com does, Zillow, and everything else.
Everything else. And the thing that I called out before too is this idea of old school SEO. The overlap is really strong, right? There's a lot of this, and people kind of say it's 50, 60% of the same type of information that gets populated and created when someone has a great, inbound marketing strategy and SEO strategy. It's got a nice benefit to AEO. So if you've been doing those things, or like most of us, you've been hearing about those things for the last 10 plus years, you already have a foundation of understanding what kind of content you need to create, being clear, being thoughtful, being useful, right? Being useful and local. Just keep that in your back of your mind for every single page that you're creating. This idea of structured information, you want to make sure, like, Placester does an amazing job of telling the models what to look for on a website, right? So the same way that people asked about meta titles and meta descriptions for SEO, there's a similar thing happening behind the scenes for AEO. So you really want to ask your current website provider, explain to me the structure, explain to me how my site is being set up to be found by all these. Because we said last week, if your site isn't set up to do that, it's not that you are going to show up lower on the page. You just won't show up at all, right? It's just not going to be a thing that happens.
Yeah.
And other people will quickly start to lap you, even if their information isn't as strong or their depth isn't as deep as yours. if the structure's there, they're going to have a leg up on you. This is cool too. I won't go through this now because everybody's different, but I really want everybody, this is on page 7. When you get the guide, go, I'm just going to share this right in the chat.
Do you have one of the websites you were going to show us? You could throw Megan Jones or somebody else on there if you want, or if you want to skip, we can do that.
No, let's grab one that I've got here. Let's see.
Because I'm going to try this live anyway when you send this to me. I didn't know we were going to go over this cool thing, bro.
You know, I got to keep you guessing sometimes. I can't give you all the
really
info ahead of time. All right, let's get a site up that we're going to look at. Let me change this guy's site I really like. Where is he? Let me put the URL in. Okay.
The thing you threw in the chat is that's the
here we go.
That's the thing you're doing right now.
This is what we're doing right now. Yeah. So this guide, you'll get access to this link. There's a bunch of different interactive moments here, but we'll start with, I just dropped this one in here. You can navigate to any page upper here in the right-hand corner. All right, I'm going to show this guy's site. So let's look at his site first. This was a website that Placester built. I'd say it's about 80% AI and 20% our services team helping him out to finish it. I like his brand. I think he's got a great brand. He's actually, this guy Jeff's amazing. I worked with him. These communities, we're going to look at these in a minute. We built these for him, you know, pulling in testimonials. Again, I'll show you all that, but this is a site that we're going to look at on the grader. Okay. So he's got an A on AI readiness, 22 of the 24 checks that were passed. And you see this weighted here, 75% AEO, 25% SEO. We do a great download too, if you are working with, you know, if you want to get a deeper insight as to where this grade's coming from, if you have somebody on your team, especially brokerages out there. But you can see things like the LMS text file and how it presents, you know, not blocking AI crawlers. You would be surprised how many people we do this for, and they're actually actively blocking AI from picking up on their site. Contact point, so JSON LD, this is now like, if you don't have meta titles and meta descriptions, like, you know, it's the same thing where you would just never give yourself a chance to be found. And then we do the SEO grader down here too. And we do the SEO grader because, again, we see that overlap, right? It's not just one. We want to make sure that both are being accounted for. So please go through and put your site through this. It's going to be super important to give yourself an honest score. And again, you've got time to fix it if there are things that need to be fixed. Good on this. I want to pop over to the site if we got a few more minutes here to do it.
Dude, please. I can't wait to run this on my sites.
Yeah, do it. I highly recommend it. All right, so a couple things I called out before. So when Placester is building sites for our clients, and you can do this, go to placester.com. You can start a free trial. We literally just need your name and your location, and we will figure out who you are, not in a creepy way. We'll figure out who you are. We'll start to build a site for you. You know, we're pulling in brand colors. We're pulling in location. We're pulling in testimonials. You know, we're creating blog posts for people that are local to their area. And this is happening just like without any input from them. Okay, why does that matter? That matters because as you're thinking about putting a site together, you want the ability to make changes on your own, but you need a starting point to go to. Same thing with community pages. Obviously, people come in here, they can still edit these community pages, they can change them, but out of the gate, we're gonna pull in everything we know about you. We did this for you, Tristan, as well. We're gonna pull in everything we know about you, populate these areas with listings. It's gonna have market stats. It's gonna have information about the area. You can go in there and you can add more, right? Like his name was added, we added some of that, his actual brokerage was added. And this is zero work from the client. They don't have to do anything to get these pages pre-built out for them. This comes out of the box with the sites that we're building. The next thing I'm going to show you is profile pages. So let's go to his Meet the Team page. Okay. So we were talking about local before. We're talking about building out profiles and being consistent. So Jeff's got a great profile here. Some of this we pulled in. He made some changes because he wanted specific lines in here about his experience, which I love. And then we went ahead and added more content that we pulled based off of his bio and what we learned about him. We created kind of a mini FAQ for Jeff that he didn't have to do anything to get this. This was the AI doing research on him and building it out. And now this is something that when people are searching, especially for Jeff's name, these are things that are being pulled up and they're giving information about Jeff that he didn't have to do anything to inform these models and to put himself in the best position for AEO.
Got it.
Same thing with testimonials, keeping the testimonials on his bio pages. These are just things that we've seen as extremely important for the signals that are out there for what these models pick up on. And so we're trying to aggregate them for you automatically. Now, if you want to add some, you want to remove some, nothing is hard coded. Remember, Placester is still a drag and drop no code backend. Reactions, Tristan? Anything you want to add that people should be aware of?
Dude, I'm thinking about a couple of things. One is, hold on, let me put you back on the screen. One is, I'm thinking most of our business as real estate agents comes from referrals.
Yeah.
That's how it is across the board. So that means when we get a referral, what you started with at the very beginning is actually, and I hadn't thought about this is why I'm thinking about it now, is actually very realistic. So you're looking, Casey, let's say you're looking for a home in Malibu.
Yeah.
And you reach out to a friend, you reach out to Matt. Okay. Matt's like, dude, Tristan can help you out. And you're like, cool. And then you go here. Tristan, does Tristan cover Malibu? Who's Tristan? That's the natural next thing you do with AI.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that because how I was thinking about it is, well, let's just show up naturally when people are searching for. I was thinking PPC, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But your approach is actually more realistic. And then I would say yours is at the very top. And then now that we cover that, then you go into, okay, how do we show up for the rest of the searches, like organically?
Yeah. It's to me it's the biggest miss. Like I kind of ask people all the time, like, do you have Google Analytics hooked up to your site to figure out how many direct searches, you're getting and all that? Yeah, like just think about it. And I ask people, how many business cards do you hand out in a month? Or how many people do you think hear your name from a friend or a colleague or a past client a month? And do you win all that business? And the answer is inevitably no, right? Nobody's shooting 10 for 10. And a lot of times I firmly believe it's because just as much as Matt refers you to me, if I was the buyer, I probably have my friend Mary refer another agent and my friend John refer another agent. And so now it's not just let me like see who Tristan is. It's like, well, let me compare Tristan to, Mary the agent and John the agent who I got referred to, because normally you get more than one person. And so I love when people are, not only they can be found for their own name and found very well, but that when they get compared against other realtors that they're naturally up against, right? You guys are all in the same markets with all your colleagues. Well, what's going to set you apart? And you need to have these things that differentiate when somebody searches. I want that ChatGPT profile like yours to be pulled up when I look up Tristan. That's got to be stacked. And not that I want bad for anybody else, but you want your competitors to have a little bit, right? And you want to stand out by this breadth of content that's really relevant, because that's what's going to nail it for people. They're going to go, oh man, this recommendation I got, I already probably have his name. I probably already have his email and phone number. I'm just deciding if I should shoot him a text. I'm just deciding if I should send him an email. Let me go validate that first before I take that next step.
Dude, that's exactly what happened to me. Not for real estate, but for my son got a whole bunch of people together for Dungeons and Dragons at the park.
Yep.
And he's 14. So somebody said, who's your dad? So they went to ChatGPT. Can I trust this dad? Because he's the only one who's going to be there. Right. So they ChatGPT'd me. So how I know is she came up to me after. She's like, I needed to know who you were before I dropped my daughter off here with 12 other kids. And then, that whole thing started. But I thought that was interesting. right?
I love that,
Referral.
right? Because it's before you're like, let me read 4 different Google links that it might have come up. Because Tristan, you've got a big footprint. Okay, well now guess what? Your whole footprint is aggregated into one easy to understand, digestible page on ChatGPT. Like that's exactly what people are doing. That's a funny one.
All right, let's lay the foundation for the next one we do, because I think the next easy step would be, okay, we've got the website structured like we want, right? Placester can build me out one for in 3 minutes or less, right?
And take us up on that. Like the link is in there. Start a free trial. Take a look at how quickly we can build this thing. It's really impressive.
I think that the thing is, and then I'll talk to you what I want to talk about next. The thing is that it's not just building a website in 3 minutes. It's building a site that matches all those things you went through, right? The right schema. It's giving us the right possibility of structuring it so AEO captures us quickly, right?
Yeah.
It's all those things.
With the right local information, right? It's specific to you. We're not building this for every single person in a kind of generic way. We really are doing deep research on every single individual and making sure the site reflects that.
That's what I love. And then the second thing is, I want to talk next on our next one is, how do you guys help us for, do you remember long tail keywords in Google? So now let's think of, and I don't know if it's a thing, but long tail prompts in AI. Sure. How do we show up in those with your blog specifically? That's what I want to talk about next.
Let's do it. I think that's a great idea. And then we can talk about how you get found there, and then how those resources are crossover resources to use elsewhere, right? You brought this up when we talked a few weeks ago. It's amazing when you can get 2-fers or 3-fers where, we can build you a great piece of blog content that can help you get found, but that same blog content can be used as a lead magnet in a Facebook post or a social post. Like, you just want to see how those efficiencies overlap into your entire marketing strategy. So I think let's make that the headline of the next one.
Okay, I like that, dude. Let's do that, because I'm thinking this. I'm like, over 50% of the people selling in the United States were boomers, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking in our area, I'm thinking when people are searching anything on ChatGPT, they're going to be thinking something along the lines of, hey, I want to downsize and I want to move from, right? I want to move from Thousand Oaks, Westlake, Malibu to, and I don't care where it is, but the main states people move to, they either move within California to Sacramento or Riverside or Ventura, right? Or they move out of state to Florida or Texas, right? Yep. So then I can make all these different blogs so that those long tail keywords, anytime somebody searches those, I'm downsizing from Thousand Oaks and I want to move to Florida. Where should I start? Send or prompt. And then all of a sudden our stuff pops up because we did it right. That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. I think that's also a great blend of your local knowledge. And I don't just mean you, I mean you as real estate professionals, knowing what people in your market are doing, and then taking what you know about what people are doing and leaning into these tools that are out there to help that come to life in a way that's valuable for new potential clients, right? For your own existing business. We'll talk about that overlap there because I think it's an important one.
Perfect. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Everyone else, please scan that. What I'd also recommend is, let me put that on here. Click on the link I sent you, Placester.com Real Estate AI Search Guide. I just went through it while you were talking. So I think on like slide 4 or 3, I had to put my name in to help me continue to go through the process. It's definitely worth it. You get to compare what pops up on Chat, Perplexity, Claude, on all those terms. Use that, jump on a call with Placester, see how fast you can build out your site that I think is pertinent to the world that we're in. And then we'll continue to talk about AI, Placester, and I think how it can position you to show up, because that's the world we're in, man.
Important. I know. Don't sleep. Don't sleep, as I tell people. Tristan, it was great seeing you again. Thanks everyone for showing up as well.
Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day.